In response to a phony crisis over religious liberty engendered by the right, President Obama seems to have stood his ground on an essential principle: free access to birth control for any woman. That access, along with the ability to receive family planning and preventive health services, was at the foundation of health care reform. Mr. Obama's new rule on birth control coverage lets institutions affiliated with a religion shift the cost of coverage to their insurance companies. But Mr. Obama assured Americans it would not result in other women or the rest of the country subsidizing that shift. By refusing to back down on Friday, Mr. Obama took an action that will help reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies, abortions, and medical complications from pregnancy. Nonetheless, it was dismaying to the President to lend any credence to the misbegotten notion that providing access to contraceptives violated the freedom of any religious institution. Churches are given complete freedom by the Constitution to preach that birth control is immoral, but they have not been given the right to laws that would deprive their followers or employees of the right to disagree with that teaching. If a religious body does not like a public policy that affects its members, it is free to try to change it, but it cannot simply opt out of society or claim a special exemption from the law. Besides, contraceptive access is already in place in 28 states and has been the law in New York for a decade, without inflicting the slightest blow to the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church, which has complied. Mr. Obama had already gone too far out of his way to exempt churches and their religious employees from the preventative care mandate. It was not necessary to carve out a further exception for their non-religious arms, like Catholic hospitals and universities, which employ thousands of people of other faiths. But Republican candidates and lawmakers know a good wage issue, and they used this one to portray Mr. Obama as anti-religion and pro-government oppression. It was also a good excuse to take another whack at the health care reform law. The White House's failure to foresee this mischief produced several days of stammering. If the President had simply made today's announcement 2 weeks ago, explaining that the savings from expanded birth control access means no additional cost to any employer, he might have avoided the political grief. The Catholic Health Association of the United States, which represents Catholic hospitals, said it was very pleased with the announcement, while the Bishops' Conference said it was still studying the new rule. The President's solution, however, demonstrates that those still angry about the mandate aren't really concerned about religious freedom. They simply don't like birth control and want to reduce access to it. Senator Marco Rubin, a Republican of Florida, has introduced a bill that would allow any employer to refuse to cover birth control by claiming to have a religious objection. The House Speaker, John Boehner, also supports the concept. Rick Santorum said Friday that no insurance policy should cover it, apparently unaware that many doctors prescribe birth control pills for medical reasons other than contraception. The White House promise that free birth control pays for itself will still have to be tested. The rule announced Friday would be objectionable if it turns out that non-religious employers are subsidizing the exemption of religious employers, in effect paying more for their insurance because they have to cover birth control. For women and for society at large, the principle of keeping open access to birth control is a major step forward.